Is everyone okay? What? Where's Hank?
Oh my God, are you okay?
I'm fine. Someone must have walked over my grave. Woo!
So that was better. I almost got your shirt off that time.
Hi! Welcome to Venture Brothers Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is Graham, Dean Venture, Mason.
Hello! It's me.
And Nick, Hank Venture, Friedemann.
I am the bat.
Here we are in Season 7. New nicknames for Season 7. Way better than the Season 6 finale nicknames, which were, I forgot. And I figured it's the last season of the show for now. It'll be the last season of our show for now.
Yep.
What better than just Venture Brothers characters for our nicknames, right?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of
Totally.
fun. I'll go more and more obscure as we go in, but I figure right out of the gate, let's go with the Venture Brothers. It's the Venture Brothers Podcast.
This is true. And more obscure. I mean, yes, you're gonna have to.
Yeah. I mean, we got 4 for the first 2 episodes, and then from there on, sooner or later, someone will be Brick Frog. I promise.
Yeah.
And sadly, it won't be me, even though I love Brick Frog. Spoilers for next week. We'll get there. So here we are, Season 7.
Yeah.
Who's excited?
I'm very excited.
I love Season 7.
It's incredible.
Nick, what are you? Where are you at on Season 7?
What are you, Nick?
I'm in the middle. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I don't know how to feel about it yet. I'm waiting to see, kind of watching through this season again to kind of solidify my opinion. So my vote is up in the air. If you're listening, Venture Brothers Season 7.
It's up to you.
Yeah. Only you can sway this vote.
Now, cards on the table as we move forward. We don't really have a lot of notes anymore because we don't really have the book to reference. We have DVD commentary, which Brok will be using as much as he can to try to help us out with notes. But we are in kind of uncharted waters now because we were really relying a lot on the book that they wrote, which is wonderful and you should buy it. It's only like $20. But there's not really a lot out there as much because it's such a newer season. The book ends at 6, obviously. And personally, I watched it when it aired, and then I rewatched it all so I could just kind of binge it like how I like to watch Venture Brothers, and then I stopped, and I haven't watched it since. So it's kind of foggy in my head, which I'm really happy about, so as I can go through it. Like, I know there's a lot with the Peril Partnership, and I know Scare Bear comes back, and I remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when it happens. I don't remember how it comes up. So I'm really excited to kind of dive back into it and see what happened. I remember there's a lot of nudity in this season in one episode. But otherwise, I'm a little foggy on it. What about you guys?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. It's definitely one of the seasons that I haven't watched as much as I've seen the other ones. And it's definitely been more of a recent watch for me. And so it's still kind of like fresh in that way.
Sure.
But not as like rote as the other ones. Like when I'm watching an episode, I'm like, oh my God, yeah. When I'm watching it now, I'm like, wait, what happens? And especially these first 3 episodes. Oh my God.
They're intense. We were very close to doing them all as one episode. And then I'm like, nah, because then all of our season 7 will be so short.
Yeah.
And then one episode will be huge and very hard to tackle. So I still think segmenting it out is the right way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that kind of the way that they did it as well over 3 episodes because holy crap. There's a ton of stuff to unpack.
And the way it's layered is really smart. Like, and then you just like, and then as you find things out, I'll save it for next week, but where you think, oh, Hank's rather capable. Oh, Hank's just lucky.
Yep.
Like things like the jokes that take a week to pay off are wonderful. So it's like, those sorts of things that I'm kind of really excited to really dive into and sink our teeth into as we move throughout the season. But we got to start somewhere, and the first episode is probably the best place to start.
True.
Nick, what was the full title of this thing that I can never remember? I remember Haunted Problem.
This is The Venture Brothers and the Curse of the Haunted Problem.
Problem.
I'll say problem.
At this moment, it's still problem.
I'm on Colonel Gentleman's side. It's pronounced problem.
But we don't know that to the end of this episode.
He says problem the whole time, and you just assume it's his accent, and it's like, oh no, he's just saying it
Accurately,
the right way.
Yes. Scientifically accurate, yes.
Nick, how do you feel about doing a breakdown real quick?
Sure. So, basically, the Venture family, still living in New York, starts to experience signs that their home and headquarters is haunted. Everybody but Hank is basically experiencing this because Hank, you find out, is basically sleeping over at what's her name? Serena's place. So he's not really experiencing any of this. And more or less, Hank is kind of like, he gets fired from his job because he kind of gets caught because his hat was left at Serena's. So he gets fired from his pizza job. And then he decides to break in as Enrico Matassa and become part of the Whale's gang, which he must shoot the Monarch as his initiation test. And the other side of it, the A story in this, is that the Ventures call in Dr. Orpheus to kind of do an exorcism sort of thing, which eventually, as the headquarters consistently remains haunted, though Dr. Venture is sure that it's like a computer virus, which he's kind of right, you end up finding out that the problem box, which was recovered from Gargantua 1, is actually housing Jonas Venture Sr., and that's kind of the end of this episode, where Pete White takes an axe to... You assume his network of some kind.
Yeah, his cerebral cord or his spine or something.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly. They kind of explain it, but kind of don't, which is good because it's a little vague, which is nice.
Yeah.
If they spend too much time diving into what happened, I think we'd all be like, uh-oh.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of cover it in the next episode, anyways, when it's like, and then I did this and blah, blah, blah. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like the opening of this episode. Like, I like the callback to The Exorcist. I like seeing JJ again. I like the whole desert thing. I really just enjoyed the opening of this thing. It felt like we talked a lot last week about how season 6 didn't really have a finale because of scheduling, and it just didn't work out. We just got another episode and just ended there. Whereas season 7, they definitely had time to kind of rectify that and really write a premiere. And although it's a 3-part premiere, I still think the first episode still feels like a welcome back to Venture Brothers after being gone for 2.5 years.
Absolutely.
Totally.
It's definitely an epic beginning.
Yeah.
To the rest of this season and hopefully the rest of this story. But at first, we see JJ like, oh my God, like what? Did he survive somehow?
Yeah.
Oh, 2 years. Like, oh, damn it. He's still dead. But yeah, it's an incredible opening.
Yeah. And I love Swifty. Whenever you get to see Swifty a little bit, that's always fun. I like that Swifty's afraid of the devil rock, and he's just like, as men of science, we're not afraid of such things. And he's just like doing the cross on himself in the background. Just
like wicked haunted.
But yeah, I just thought it was a really strong opening. It was just kind of a fun way to dive back into the show. And we've mentioned it before, like when we do the season premieres, but it is something I always like to bring up. It's amazing how they don't lose a step when taking that much time off in between seasons.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you don't notice it as much unless you kind of watch the episode before and then dive right into this one. And it's like, you don't miss a beat.
No.
You would never guess there was 2.5 years in between these two seasons. Or was it 2 years? I don't remember the exact timing. It's somewhere around 2 years.
Yeah. It was about,
You would never guess.
And it's incredible. I mean, it's, like you said, seamless. But also, again, like we keep saying about these first 3 episodes, holy crap, there is so much packed into here. So much history and callbacks and, forwardness and this and that and the other. And we've said this throughout the whole series, is that the writing in the show is just incredible. And they don't let down.
Yeah.
In this season. They somehow even ante up and deliver.
And this episode in particular, out of the 3, I think all 3 episodes for the opening are great. But the first one, I think, is the funniest. And the funniest not as in like sight gags or like bits or something like that, but in dialogue. The dialogue in this episode is so tight, and almost every word spoken is a joke.
I mean, I'd say yeah, but I think solidly all three are pretty incredible.
They're great, but if we're going to segment them apart.
Yeah, and they do build on each other as well. I mean, throughout the whole series, there are great one-liners. But yes, they hit it out of the park in the first go.
But just starting with I love the whole haunted sequence. I think it's all hysterical. I love the huge JJ with the "Good morning, me." I love that.
It's 7 a.m.
I love that Rusty is so convinced it's a computer virus, whereas Dean is having shit written in his stomach. It's a computer virus.
It's just residual nanobots or something.
But when it gets to the morning after, and Brok is so shaken. Helper is shaking as he's trying to pour coffee. Dean is mortified, and Rusty's just like, whatever, it was a bad night. We just need to fix the computer shit. And when he's eating the bacon is where I'm just like, nope, this is fucking Venture Brothers. It's right, it's back. And just the dialogue of well, maybe it's haunting you because of the stupid vegetarian stuff that you're into. Just eat a bacon. Just one bacon. And just the moment it's timed so well with Hank. And why isn't Hank getting haunted? And he just takes the bacon and goes, because I'm a good person, and then bites the bacon. Fucking great.
And then also right afterwards where he's like, sorry, I'm a little late to the conversation. Have we ruled out old man in a mask?
Yeah, old man in a mask. It's so good. I love just diving right back into it. And it's like, oh man, show's fantastic.
And then even further, I also love bringing back Dr. Orpheus and the Triad. Because I miss those guys.
I didn't realize how much I missed them. Because even when we were doing the entirety of season 6, I kept having that voice in the back of my head, remember how much you miss them, but it just keeps going. And it's it just kind of moves on without them. And you don't really realize that it's oh, this is missing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they come back, it's oh, fuck, nope.
Yeah.
And they were amazing.
Yeah, they come back with a fervor, too. I mean, Dr. Orpheus does his astral projection, and then, of course, they bring in his corporeal form, and they just drop him on the ground.
Because it's a heated pool.
And just the whole seance thing is incredible. You're okay, silence, ghosts. I'm not trying to talk to any of you. Either come into the light or don't. I don't really care. Demon, we're trying to talk to you.
Just the entire seance is so fucking good. This is why I didn't want to see you people anymore. Look at it. You made a mess of my lobby. Why'd you paint a big circle in the lobby?
There was already a circle there.
What magic? Oh my god. But that's what I mean. Every line in this episode's a joke.
Yep.
And even the introduction back to Hank starts with him premature ejaculating. That's how we're brought back into Hank. And they don't call it out. You just can tell, just context clues. She's in a bra and she's like, well, you lasted longer than last time.
Whoa, someone stepped over my grave.
I was trying to imagine the Walking Dead zombies, but then Michonne showed up. That's actually something I'm just going to throw in there really quick, because I hadn't really planned on bringing it up. But it is kind of remarkable how well the show ages while not really if you were to just kind of take the timeline of when the show started to where it is now, it's probably what would you say, a few years?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'd say probably. Well, yeah, probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I'd even go as many as 4 or 5. I could even maybe make that make sense in my head.
The boy's age kind of screws it up, because I think the brothers' age, because I think it starts off with them being 15-ish.
I thought it was 14.
I think it's older, because remember when they get their IDs burned and handed back, and they're like, "Why does it say that I am 15 or whatever?"
Oh yeah.
So they're 15 or 16, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. So, and then if they're starting college, that would make them around 18. Yeah. So
right.
maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But it's so amazing how well it's written. Where they have, if you wanted to stick to that timetable, you can't reference the Walking Dead, because that was not around in 2004 when this show started. I mean, I think the book was.
The comic book definitely was.
Comic books.
Yeah.
But
Michonne wasn't in it yet. Michonne didn't show up till 4 or 5 years into the book. So, these references, they work so well, and you don't really question it because it's just written so smoothly. Whereas, you think about it, it doesn't work at all. But if you can just let it just kind of wash over you, it's oh no, this just totally works.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because the references aren't so fresh that it makes it too timely. Because this came out in 2018.
Yeah.
And so even then, referencing The Walking Dead was still like an older reference. And so it still fits and still kind of works in time to where it's like still fresh in our minds, The Walking Dead, but not like current.
Yeah, and I think because the show layers in so many really old school references as well as current ones, it just kind of, it melds them all in a way of like, oh no, they're just referencing all of pop culture.
Yeah.
And it just works really well.
Like the song by the Crusaders throughout this whole 3 episodes.
I still hang around.
God, I just can't get that song out of my head.
I also just love Pete's explanation of like, that song's not in your library. How would you know? There's like 20,000 songs there. I was a college DJ. How does that answer the question?
That was such a stupid moment. I was like, all right, somebody clearly brought it up like in the session. They were like, I don't know, he's a college DJ, whatever. And then they just put that in this show.
No, it makes sense. He would know how to read an iTunes library.
But that is Pete White though. That is so Pete White.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Like even if there's no way he could have known, he'd be like, whatever, I worked in music, therefore I know everything.
Of course.
Yeah. That's right. That's how it works, right, Nick?
Of course.
You know everything about audio now, yeah?
Oh yeah. I read it like what's his name? Cypher. Yeah, it's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Why'd you go for Cypher?
Yeah, what the fuck? Cypher? Yeah. Are you a traitor? Get out of here.
How,
like Neo or Trinity?
You can go for Tug?
I always go for
Tank?
Cypher because it is inexplicable how he gets into the Matrix to have a secret meeting with Agent Smith and then eats steak and then gets himself back out. How? How does that happen? Who jacks him in and then jacks him out?
I was so afraid you're going to say jack off.
Nope.
And now I kind of wish that you had. Who jacks him in, then jacks him off? Out.
Out, I mean.
Who jacks him off out?
Well, Agent Smith is the answer to the off question. Everything else, though, we have no answers.
That's a good question.
Wow, you just ruined the Matrix for me.
Yeah, what the fuck? Now I'm thinking about it.
Sorry.
Ugh.
How dare you, sir?
Ugh.
Another thing we kind of totally jumped over in this episode that I really like is they're just not getting rid of Sergeant Hatred. And I really appreciate that. They don't really have much for him to do anymore. His storylines have all completely run out.
I mean, he still references Princess Tiny Feet every once in a while.
Every once in a while. But like he's done. Like he's got nothing. He's basically just window dressing now. But they just still love having him around.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's a security guard and I don't know, tour guide.
Yeah.
That's like.
But I love Sergeant Vatrid.
Yeah, I do too. And I also love him as a tour guide. I like that they crack open the case and there's fucking oh my god.
Jonas Venture.
Jonas. I just want to say Venture Senior. I'm like, he has a first name. But there's Jonas and his response is, "Oh, I have to change a lot of things on this tour."
Ugh.
It's true though, he will. He will have to change a lot of things on the tour.
Because that's all he has now.
Yeah. And a flashlight. Doesn't even have batteries in it.
Ugh. Such a
Can't
sad
really point
character.
that flashlight. I think that's from last week. But still,
yes.
We did warn last week, if you were listening, these 4 episodes, season 6 finale and the first 3 of 7, really blend together. So we might have some references out of place a little bit.
Absolutely.
We'll do our best not to. Especially next week will be a little bit easier, with Jaws. But we'll get there. What have we missed in this episode? There's so much to kind of like talk about. The only thing that I really don't think gets a big light on it, really in any of the 3 episodes, is Brok.
Yeah, because I think they moved him out of everything on purpose. Like, there's nothing for him to do. Like, it kind of irked. It didn't irk me in a bad way, but it did kind of call attention to himself as like, why is Brok afraid? And it's like, oh, looking through the rest of this episode and then into the next 2, he doesn't really have anything to do. Like, everything that's being done is either a very specific problem that he can't solve, or it's something ethereal that he can't do anything about anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense that he's not there. It is kind of like, oh, we're back in Venture Brothers. Why isn't there a good Brok moment yet?
Mm-hmm.
And they give him like kind of a little bit of just like, fuck this shit. I'm going to camp outside. I'm not going inside. And like, it's kind of funny, but he doesn't really have any moment to shine. He does throughout the rest of the season. He will pop up quite a bit, but
right.
I do love that little one moment between him and Hank. Where like, Hank, what are you doing? Or Hank's spying on Wide Whale
Oh,
through
yeah.
the scope. He holds the sniper rifle behind his back. Nothing? Wait, why? What are you doing? And Brok is clearly building a tent to sleep outside now. It's like, nothing.
Here's a question. Was that a sniper rifle? I always thought it was the first times I watched it. And then watching it this time, it looks like it's just a listening thing.
Oh, maybe.
It looks like he's got a boom mic on the front of it.
Oh, because he can't hear them.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was wondering how he could hear him. That makes sense.
Because first watching this season, I'm like, is Hank trying to snipe somebody? Like, he did
Yeah.
that in season 4, but they were fighting Hitler, so that made sense. But this one, this feels really not Hank.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Enrique Matasso. He's a lover. Not a
Even,
fighter.
especially not Enrique Matasso with his huge hanky. Oh, boy.
I wish he came back.
Hey, he does.
Oh.
I love Enrique Matassa. I think he's great. I just wish they could figure out what to do with him.
Yeah. When? That's not this week, is it? It's next week.
Next week he has a lot more. He's in this one.
Yeah.
Because
No,
it
it is
ends
this
with him
one.
pointing the gun at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
monarch.
yeah.
Well, he doesn't point the gun. He's told he has to kill the monarch. He does his whole, like, craft his way into Wide Whale's thing of, like, look, I already took out your guards. And
Right.
it's
So he does his diatribe. So that is this
Yeah.
week. Sorry. As you said.
Yeah, it's
these
tough
weeks
to...
will blend in together. 3-part episode. I feel like what you were saying. It's like I feel, I wish he was more part of it and what they could, do with him. I feel like they were starting to do that, and I was like, oh wow, this would be really interesting if like this is how he gets in with Wide Whale, and then he actually becomes a villain, and then he marries Serena, and blah blah blah. Like, oh my gosh, that'd be crazy, and like really super intense, and kind of Venture Brothers, but kind of not, kind of like a darker side to it. You're like, oh, that'd be really interesting, and then later we find out,
and that's it.
Nothing.
And it's kind of like it's one of those things where I think it's ultimately for the best. I think it works out. I love like it just wouldn't be very Hank, and I feel like it would really crush him. And they're already planning on crushing Hank this season. And I think if they'd done this as well, it just would have been too much on him.
That's true.
Right.
Well, but it could have given him I mean, maybe that's a season 8 thing. Maybe he actually, I mean, I don't want to speculate, but I do want to speculate. What is this show about?
Yeah.
Maybe that kind of gives him an out, right? Maybe that kind of gives him, because the show loves closing a door and opening a window.
Yeah.
Right. And so maybe that is now his alter ego, right? Not even alter ego. Maybe that becomes his new ego, right? They kind of slam the door shut at the end of the season in this, area that will be fleshed out, and then certainly not fleshed out anymore. And so I don't know. Maybe they will bring it back, and maybe that will become
It could be
something.
I mean, they very easily could. I
Right.
think that the groundwork was there. If they wanted to go that route with Hank, they could.
Mm-hmm.
But it just felt like, hey, we could do this, or we could make it something like a legit dramatic thing for the boys and the brothers, and they
Which
could go
absolutely do.
and they went that way.
Yeah.
They went for more of the honest, like, we've never had a legit turmoil between these two boys, and they've
Right.
spent their entire lives together, and that doesn't really make sense. Like, at some point, you'd assume there'd be some sort of epic fight, and this season goes there. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but it definitely does.
And not in a way that was expected.
Not at all. Not even a little bit. But I think if they had gone too far down the Enrique Montasa route that they kind of set up here, they couldn't do that.
Absolutely.
So I think they ultimately made the right call for storyline. I'm not even sure if this was ever even a plan, but you could see the groundwork, and they could have done it. But I think where they went was the better choice. But it does kind of leave me wanting more of Enrique Montasa, and not more of like, why doesn't he show up more often? I just want something more with his character, like just something better.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it does, I mean, again, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but this season does a very good job of peeling away at Hank.
Mm-hmm. All right, Nick, what about you? What's like your big thing in this episode? What do you love about it?
I think that what I like is it seems like, unlike what Graham said earlier, where they usually close a door and open a window, it does feel like this is the beginning of them trying to close a big door. Now, without getting too deep into it, it's the whole Jonas Venture Sr. in the problem.
Problem.
Yes.
Which,
Or at least his head. I do want to mention that. It's
Yes.
just his head.
It's-
It's not his whole body.
Which
It is
we'll get there.
just his head.
right.
Probably should have been the whole body.
Yep.
Most definitely could have been.
Yes. If somebody didn't have Butterfingers, then.
Ooh.
But I do think that there's something interesting about it, but I don't know. Because of the way that they broke up this episode into the next episode, into the third, I don't really want to jump ahead of what happens. But I do think that starting to kind of close this door is interesting.
The where is Jonas door?
Where is Jonas it's more of what happened to Jonas.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I find interesting. Now, they by closing this door, they do open up a window with who opened the blast doors, which they even they directly ask this question in the next episode. But so you don't really know who did something to him, but you do know what ended up actually happening to Jonas Sr., which really has been a question that's been asked by the fans and kind of by the show for a while.
Yeah.
Mhm. And as I'm thinking about, do we ever actually find out?
I don't think we find out. We don't find out all the answers this season.
No.
They give you way more answers than we've ever had before.
Right.
But not all of them.
No, we still don't know the answer to that question of who opened the blast
To the
doors.
bay door.
Yeah.
Which when we get to that episode, I'll have some theories, but
Totally.
we'll have to get to that one first. It's not that far away. Graham, what about you? What's your big thing in this episode that you enjoy?
I mean,
If we haven't already talked about it.
all of it. Yeah, I mean, I do love everybody coming together into the gallery is what I'll call it, I guess. So Dr. Orph is coming back, and then all of the Venture team coming back.
Oh yeah, in the Uber. Fetch us an Uber.
Just-
I love the Uber stays.
The Uber
not till
stays, and he
He
bails.
stays for a minute, and then he's like, yeah, fuck this. And thank God he got out of there in time because the
Best
emblem
Uber
comes down.
driver ever.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
plows just go through the window. Like I wanted to be in that car for no, just go right through.
I mean, let's be honest, he's probably seen some of the old Venture cartoons. And if those heroes jumped into your Uber, you're going to be doing some things you've
who
never
knows-
done before.
Yeah, who knows what Action Man is saying to get him to drive through that window? But I guarantee you, it was Action Man's fault.
I guarantee you, Action Man definitely had a gun either on his lap or pointed into the driver's
Or just
ribs.
in the driver's mouth.
But anyway,
Action!
I love that moment and the culmination of the whole thing. And then just, again, we say all the amazing one-liners in this show are incredible. But when they finally crack open the door of the problem, and Rusty sees his father, it's like, what the hell? And then the colonel pops up. He's like, Rusty, it's your pop-pop.
I love it when Jonas opens his mouth. What's that smell? Well, I didn't pack him a toothbrush. My God.
It's your pop-pop.
And then, in pure Pete White fashion, he fucks it all up.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
I found it out. And dead.
That's Pete for you.
Yep. Well, in the next one, he kind of finds a solution and then makes it worse, and then
Is that the next one or is it the third one? I think it's the third one.
no, it might have been the third one.
Yeah. Because the next one, they're not really in it much.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, I think that does it. I think we've covered as much as we can.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's definitely an action-packed episode
Yep.
of episodes of action-packed episodes.
Yep. With
but I think
constant
this
one-liners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this one may be one of the least action-packed.
Yeah, it doesn't really get actiony till the end. And then
Yeah.
the rest of them all... Well, the next one doesn't have a ton of action, but we do get a lot of really good Blue Morpho closure in the next one. So,
Oh my god.
Yeah, they build, I think, in both episodes from
Yeah.
the beginning to the end, and it kind of ends with a big action thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. And then the third one is just where it all comes together, which we'll get to
Right.
in 2 weeks. But I think that's the end for this one. So we're going to move into the end segment of Season 7, which for Season 7, again, because it's our last season until who knows, I decided to go a little bit different than we've been doing. And it's going to be our favorite quote-unquote Venture Brothers moment, as in a moment that could only happen in Venture Brothers, because as we all know, Venture Brothers is the best show ever, and there's a certain thing about it you just can't quite put your finger on, and we're going to try to put a finger on it at the end of every episode. So what is your favorite thing? And I can get the ball rolling. I wrote mine down. I've already kind of mentioned it. And it's just the dialogue. I fucking love the dialogue. I love the way the characters interact. And it actually wasn't even me who pointed it out. I was on the subreddit. If you're never on the subreddit, it's a very positive community, a lot of really friendly people. And somebody mentioned that, like, yeah, I knew Venture Brothers was back when this line happened. And I already mentioned earlier, it was, come on, Dean, eat a bacon. No, just one bacon. And it's just the way he phrases it, eat a bacon. It's just so pure Rusty. And it's like, yeah, we're back.
Yep. And
even followed up with the, because I'm a good person, while he's eating a bacon. Fucking great.
Oh, man. I as well also mentioned mine previously, but it's just the culmination of everything. Of, like, when Dr. Orpheus blasts through the doors, when the old Venture team comes together and everybody's in the same room, and you're like, yeah, we're back. This is solid Venture Brothers, solid time. And now we're getting some answers to some old stuff.
Yeah.
And just that line of, oh, Rusty, it's your pup. Like, yeah. No, only in Venture Brothers can they pop open a casket of their father that was established in
Season 2. No, Episode 2.
Yeah.
Episode 2.
Yeah.
14 years ago.
Right. And we find out that his long-lost father, who died in some crazy way that we still don't know yet fully, is now here, headless, in this electronic casket, controlling this ivory tower. And so much more that we'll get to unpack a little bit in the season.
And you even find out he was kind of calling for help back in Episode 2. And it's like, and the light never came on. Well, yeah, it did. It came on.
It's on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very specifically Venture Brothers
Absolutely.
thing.
Yep. Nick, what about you?
Mine would be something slightly different. It's Enrico Matas's handkerchief whip.
He actually gets Wide Whale's gun.
He does
Yeah.
a really good job.
Well done, Hank.
Yeah, he's been practicing.
Very well done.
But no, you're absolutely right. Handkerchief whip is a very Venture Brothers gag.
Every time I see it, I've seen it twice now, or I guess 3 times now, I'm just like, that's weird, and then I never think about it again.
And he holds it the whole time.
Yeah.
Just spinning around.
My God. This is a good show.
It is.
I like this one.
It is.
So that's it. That's episode 1.
Yep.
Very quick round of plugs. Mine is going to be the age-old. Go to athpod.com. Check out everything we have there. Tons of stuff going on. We're wrapping up to the end of the year, so there will be a little bit less going on because we're all going on vacations and we're traveling and whatnot, so we're doing the best we can. But there's always something there, so be sure to check it out. athpod.com. Nick?
Yes.
Are you going to plug that game that came out a little while ago?
Yeah, I think so. Jedi Fallen Order, I worked on it. It's out now.
It is.
What?
I'm so excited to play it when I finish playing the other game you worked on of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's a long fucking game you guys made.
It's really long.
It's really
and
long.
If you want the proper ending, it's super long.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I've already been playing it for like 60 hours.
Yep. About another 60 to go.
I think I'll just watch it on YouTube. I'm going to finish the story that I've been playing and I've been enjoying, and the DLC that I also purchased because I really like. You guys made a good game.
The DLC, both of them are good.
Yeah, I've heard.
I worked on both.
I've heard they're both good, and I should buy them.
capacities.
And they had them on a Black Friday sale for like $10 for both of them, all chapters.
Nice.
And I'm like, well, fuck, I have to get that now.
Yeah,
You guys made a really good game, and it's just eating all of my time.
that's fair.
When I'm not doing everything else in the world. God, being a parent and a podcaster takes a lot of time. Not to mention, I also have a job where I work 50 hours a week.
Don't mention that job.
I didn't say where I work. I just work at the place with the stuff. Be sure to check it out. I know you can.
You have access.
I know everyone listening has access to watch what I do. Graham, you plug in anything?
Ha!
That's right. So thank you everyone for coming back to season 7. Tune in next week, episode 2.
Something.
Bye.
Bye.